When you picture a lone wolf, someone who is a rugged individualist, a recluse, a maverick, someone who does things their own way, you're thinking about a man, right? I am, and you probably should be, because in general, the stereotype completely holds up in that men are more comfortable in their own company. Women, they largely define themselves through their social bonds and through their relationships. If you think back to caveman days, which is appropriate given my location, if you think back to the context that really guided our evolution as a species, women were socializing with each other all the time. They're completing tasks together, they're raising each other's children, they're braiding each other's hair, preparing meals. And, social bonds were just a fundamental part of their life. It was essential for their survival. And this can be difficult sometimes for men to understand just how intimately linked a woman's social bonds are with her sense of psychological safety. Her friendships are important not just for recreation and pleasure, but actually she feels them to be important to her very survival. Now, the reason that this is important to talk about is because this is a blind spot that lots of men actually have, because we're comfortable in our own company, which means that we tend to underestimate the influence that a woman's girlfriends can have on her opinions and on her values. We need to stop making that mistake. You need to be paying close attention to the women that your girlfriend is spending time with. They say that you can tell what kind of a person somebody is based on the company they keep, the kind of people that they spend time with. And I 100% agree with that. If you're dating a woman and all of her friends are low quality, toxic, narcissistic, like awful women, well, then the chances are that your girlfriend is going to be like that too. It's why I think it's probably a good idea early on in the dating process to try and meet, this girl's friends to see what kind of people they are. If you meet her friends and they're all intelligent, kind, feminine, high self-esteem individuals, then rest easy. You've probably found a good one. I think that it's entirely appropriate to judge the quality of somebody by the company that they keep. It's not the only factor, but it's an important one. Birds of a feather, they flock together, and high self-esteem individuals like spending time with other high self-esteem individuals. And of course, the opposite reigns true as well. Misery loves company. I've heard so many stories back when I was doing consultations of guys who ignored the red flags that a woman's social circle raised, and they were just awful, terrible consequences. Like, there was the guy who thought that he was happily married, right? And he had 2 small children. He thought everything was great in his relationship. But his wife starts hanging out with, these women who are getting divorced and splitting up from their parents and having to share custody. And, these women started whispering in his wife's ear, like, your husband doesn't treat you right. And, you deserve so much better. You could do so much better. I love being single. Single life is the best. Blah, blah, blah. Of course, it was all bullshit. It's, they were just jealous of the fact that she had a happy marriage and they couldn't make it work. Their relationships were a failure. I mean, you know what they say, it's so much easier to tear somebody else down rather than build yourself up. And so that's what they did. They started trashing this woman's relationship and her marriage because they were unhappy. And if this sounds ludicrous to you, like, no, that's stupid, Alex. There's no way that would ever work. A woman wouldn't be influenced like that. There's no way she would give up a happy marriage, just because of the opinions of her friends. If you're thinking like that, I tell you, you've got to stop thinking like a man. Do not underestimate how important a woman's social bonds are. The approval of her friends is absolutely crucial to a woman, and she will do crazy things to try and fit in, because social bonds and fitting in with a group, women are hardwired to put that as one of their top values. That's one of their top priorities. There could be a woman who's really sweet, really feminine, really traditional, and let's say she's a virgin and she's one of those women who wants to save herself, for marriage. But now imagine that she starts hanging out with a bunch of really loose, really, promiscuous women, women who are really into short-term relationships that have lots of one-night stands. Just sit back and watch to see how that original woman's values start to change. She wants to fit in. She wants the approval of the group. And at the same time, all of those new friends that she has, they're going to be doing absolutely everything that they can to try and shape her to be like them. You see, in female friendship groups, they're really not very tolerant of any points of difference. You know, like if you diverge in any significant way from the group, then the women are going to treat it like a threat, you know, and they're going to bring down enormous pressure to try and snuff out that difference and make everybody exactly the same. The reason is because women feel more safe when they're surrounded by other women who are making the same choices that they are. And so if you have a group of highly promiscuous women, but then suddenly they become friends with a girl who's like a sweet, chaste virgin, they're going to treat her virginity as though it is a threat to them. They don't think, oh, how nice, you know, it's good to have some differences of opinion. It's good to have some variety in our friendship group. No, that's far too rational. The instincts operating here are a lot more primal. You know, it's everybody's got to be the same. You know, men might be thinking, no, it's good to have, you know, people who are different to me in my friendship group because I can learn from people different to me. And that's how high quality women operate. But low quality women, no, it's very, very different. It's like, no, how can I make everybody the same as me? What's going on psychologically is that they are going to feel better about their choices if the women around them are making the same choices that they are. And so that slightly guilty conscience or that feeling of shame about all the men that she's sleeping with, every time she spends time with this sweet virgin girl, that horrible feeling of shame starts to bubble up. And so the girl, in a way, she becomes the source of that shame. And so they try and change her and mold her to fix it so that this, you know, promiscuous girl doesn't feel bad about her choices. That's what's going on. This is why it is absolutely crucial that you pay close attention to the women that your girlfriend is spending time with, because you can predict with incredible accuracy changes in your relationship and changes in your girlfriend's thoughts, opinions, and behaviors based on the trends that you can observe in her friendship group. Like, if you notice that all of her friends suddenly become like really radical feminists and they're out on the streets every single weekend, they're holding up signs, they're handing out pamphlets, and it's, you know, crush the patriarchy, end, you know, male oppression, la la la, I guarantee that influence is going to start to creep into your relationship. All men are pigs, all women are victims. I mean, very soon you're going to start to notice that kind of language is in arguments that you're having inside your relationship. What's worse is that by standing up to you, your girlfriend will discover that she can score points with her friends, you know, because, you know, she's standing up against a man. And then gradually she'll come to the realization that you're actually more valuable to her as an enemy than an ally. Do you see how absolutely vital it is that you pay attention to the group of friends that your girlfriend has? You know, here's a good test. Ask yourself this question. If you were single and you weren't dating your girlfriend, would you date any of her friends? If the answer is no, then you should probably be weary because your future's not looking bright. You know, the kind of friendship group that you want your girlfriend to have are women who are in long-term committed relationships with really great guys. Like if you meet your girlfriend's friends' boyfriends and they're all amazing dudes, like the kind of guys that you'd be thrilled to be friends with, and they've all, you know, been in relationships for a long time, they're really happy and committed, that's a really good sign. You see, in that example, this same principle of social conformity is now working in your favor, because when all of her friends have really great, functional, you know, high quality, healthy relationships, then your girlfriend is going to be reinforced in that kind of behavior. That's a good thing. Now, let me add one last piece of nuance to this, because a woman's group of friends is always important, but it is less important if the girl is really young, like if she's in her late teens or early 20s. It's not as important. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's still going to be susceptible to their influence. In a way, young girls are more susceptible to that. But on the whole, you don't need to be as concerned about the quality of your partner based purely off the company that she keeps. I mean, if you think back to the group of friends that you had when you were really young, you probably, you know, think back and go, oh gosh, I can't believe I was friends with all those people. They were not exactly, you know, really high quality guys. But, you know, it just takes some time, you know, it takes some maturity and some experience and some wisdom to actually learn what kind of people are worth spending time with, you know, what kind of people have toxic personalities. And that's largely what your 20s are about, you know, it's refining your social circle, learning what your values are and how to identify those people that you want to spend more time with. That just takes time. So if you're dating a girl who is, only 20 years old and you look at her social circle and you're thinking, God, these girls are a complete disaster. Yes, that's a problem and you need to, address that. But it's not as big of an issue as it would be if the girl you're dating was, say, 30. So what do? What if your girlfriend is friends with this really horrible, toxic girl and you're worried about the influence that she has on your girlfriend? Well, I would talk to her about it, absolutely. Start, exploring that. Like, hey, how do you feel when you're around her? What do you think about her opinions? What do you think about her choices and her behavior? And if your girlfriend is a high quality individual, she'll come to the right conclusion. She'll go, yeah, I'm not sure I want to spend too much time with this girl anymore. Now, of course, you're going to be blamed, right? Like, you'll be painted as this manipulative, controlling boyfriend who, steals this girl away from all of her friends. I mean, of course, that's what's going to happen because, if this woman is a low quality individual, she's not going to be able to take responsibility for her behavior. She's not going to believe that you're capable of making her happy. She's not going to see that the relationship is good for your girlfriend. She's just going to make it all about her because that's what low quality individuals do. Like, you took her away from me, so you're a bad person. That's not your problem. Do not let your fear of what she's going to say or how she's going to respond to this low quality friend impact how you deal with things inside your relationship and how you approach these topics with your girlfriend. Because the truth is, as the man, you do need to take somewhat of a leadership role in your relationship. And it's one of your jobs to help her, discover herself, discover her true thoughts and opinions. And yes, to help her remove toxic people from her life. That's really important. Ultimately, you are doing it for her benefit, but you're also doing it for your own. You're protecting your relationship because you don't want some toxic person whispering in your girlfriend's ear, undermining your relationship. So pay attention to your girlfriend's friends. It might not seem that important, but that's your male mind thinking. Trust me, it's really important. Your girlfriend will listen to what her friends say and think. So pay attention. It's more important than you probably realize. I've got a video for all of those guys who have recently become fathers. You may have noticed some changes in your relationship, aside from obviously children. Now it doesn't seem like you're your partner's number one priority anymore, right? Like she's a mother first and a wife second. This can be a very difficult transition period, and I wanted to make a video explaining the best way that you can maintain your relationship and maintain attraction from your wife towards you as you negotiate this change. It's the latest video on my Patreon. You want to see it, just go and sign up there. My Patreon's tremendous value. It's just $5 a month. Check out all the amazing topics you get access to. Love to see you over there.